Hey guys, you're not going to see my face today for this intro. I'm already over here at the vanity. I just wrapped up filming all of my foundations and powder foundation products, and so instead of resetting up the camera to where you could see my face, I'm just keeping it over here, and I will do the intro behind the scenes. If you want to see what I looked like today, you can most certainly check out that foundation collection video. I know originally I said that I was going to do blush, bronzer, and highlighter all together as one. And when I look at what I have in my collection, obviously it's in excess. And I want to be able to do swatches of my, especially my blushes and my highlighters, just because I think that that's beneficial. Not only, hopefully it's beneficial for you guys in case you've had your eye on something, but it's beneficial for me to see just how similar things are within my collection. And it just helps keep that mindset of look, see, you don't need everything that you think that you do, you know? So let's just get into it. Today's video is just going to be blushes then. So in front of you, you can see my cream blushes. And so it looks like I only have 6, but I actually count the individual pans in here. And so there are 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 6 pans of blush in this palette. This one ColourPop Super Shock Cheek, and then these 4 blush sticks from ColourPop. The name is right in front of me and I still couldn't think of it. So we will open it all up, we will look at everything, and then I will do swatches of stuff for you guys. I have to warn you though, if you are following along with the Partners in Cream project pan, maybe avert your eyes because I'm going to open this up and there are spoilers to ensue, but I don't really mind. We're here to look at my collection, so I'm not gonna not show it, you know what I mean? But just in case you don't want to see it, skip ahead a bit. So this is the Balm How About Them Apples palette. I'm going to hold it sideways so that you can actually see it. I really love this. I think this has been discontinued. I went to look for it on their website a while ago and I couldn't find it, but this is a great little palette. It comes with the 6 blushes, like I said. I've already finished off 2 of them. I finished off, let's see, caramel and cider. Cider was probably my favorite out of all of them, but I haven't touched pie yet, so I really don't know, can't speak to that. Also, I just want to quickly look up right quick. Let's see, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think 11 in my inventory. I think I said for cream blushes I only want 4 in my collection, and so this whole palette from the Balm and then this ColourPop Super Shock Cheek are both already in projects for this year. So if I could move these out by the end of the year, then my cream blush category would be at goal, and then I can start really focusing in and using these blush sticks and enjoying those and figuring out if the stick is the formula I want to go with, or if something like this where it's in a palette is what I want. But anyway, enough rambling. So here, let me open up the inside for you. Again, avert your eyes if you don't want spoilers. But here is the inside. Like I said, I already finished off cider and caramel, which cider was just this great light peachy pink, great everyday shade. That went by so quickly because I went ham on it. I didn't touch anything else in the palette until this one was completely gone. And then I moved over to caramel because it was fall time, and this was one of those pink brown blushes, and I really loved it. So what we're left with is Candy here, which is, it's a pink shade. It's a light pink, but it's more of a baby doll pink than cider was. Cider was definitely had more peach undertones to it. And then you'll see pie up here. I have not even touched pie once. It does have a little nick in it from my nail, but I've yet to pull this one in. Cider is a very pretty one. I don't think the light is going to do it justice. I'm filming in natural lighting and it's a little bit cloudy outside, so, I'm sorry, this isn't called cider, this is called crisp. Crisp is a really pretty pink shade with golden kind of shimmery particles to it, and so it gives you a nice natural highlight almost. I'm going to enjoy busting this one out in the summertime. This one, cobbler, I'm assuming pie, Candy and Caramel are all very soft in comparison to Crisp. Crisp is like not as emollient as the other ones, and so I think it will hang out, like it will take far longer to use this one up than it did the other ones. And then here is Cobbler, and as you can see, like we've hit side pan on it. So Cobbler is a very vibrant red shade. I have tried using this on my lips because it is a lip and cheek palette. Cobbler though, they're all, well, I've only used Cobbler on my lips, but it's like a drying formula and then it fades, so it's very reminiscent to me of like an ultra blotted lip in that it fades, but Cobbler does not fade nicely off your lips, so I don't like using it that way. My good friend Kaylee here recommended to use this underneath my foundation because it is such a vibrant red, and so that's what I've been doing, and I think that's why I've been able to make such good progress on it. So thank you, Kaylee, for that. You are a lifesaver. But yeah, there is that palette. Then we have another spoiler. Don't look if you don't want to. This is my ColourPop Super Shock Cheek in the shade Count Me In, and like I said, this is, maybe I didn't say it, but this is in my 21 by 2021 project pan, and so let me open it up. It looks a little funny, as you'll see once I get it open, because the product had gotten very thin and there was like a huge pan in the center of it, and it was really hard to pick up an even amount of product on the brush that I use. So I sanitized my little beauty tool and then I just pushed everything into the center, and then once I start using it, it will flatten itself back out into the pan, and then you'll hit pan in the middle. And so that's just kind of like what I'm gonna continue to do in order to use this up. I do not like the Super Shock Cheek formula. It's very stiff. It's not like hard to work with, but I would just prefer a creamier product like this or this. You know, not bad, but just not my favorite. It blends out fine, like the color is really nice, I enjoy it, it's just not my favorite like formulation, so would not pick up one of these again. And then I have 4 blush sticks. So this one is the shade Hen Party, I believe. If I held it the right way, maybe you could read it, but yeah, it's in the shade Hen Party. It's, I don't know if it was limited edition, but it did have special packaging. So this one is kind of like, this one reminds me a lot of like a love child between Crisp and Caramel, and between the Balm palette, which is why I picked it up. It's just like this pink brown color, and I really cannot wait to bust that one out in the fall. And you can tell, like, none of these blush sticks have gotten, I think I've used each of them one time, so it's because they're the newest to my collection, and so cream products obviously go bad faster, so I really wanted to make sure I got these things out before I went ham in with these. So the next one is the shade Mini Me, which is, oh, these are kind of hard to open. This is like just a great pink shade. I think on camera it's coming off a little more bubblegum than in real life. It's not really a brown, it's almost like just a good pink nude shade. And then I have the shade 25-8, which in my opinion is like the best cool tone blush that I have. It's very pretty. It looks very dark again on camera. Sorry, I can't really do anything about the lighting. If I turn on the overhead light, it casts all these funny shadows, and then if I turn on the ring light, it also casts like a funny shadow. So we're just gonna deal with it this way. But yeah, great blush shade. And then the last cream blush that I have is the shade Cool It. I'm sorry, no, I got these confused. 25-8 is not a cool tone shade, obviously, it's just a great pink. Cool It is actually a very great cool tone pink shade. So, as you can see, they probably all look the same on camera, so that is why I am going to do some swatches and then show you, oops, as I knock the camera, I'm going to do some swatches and show you what they look like. Okay, so first up we have right here, I didn't swatch the ColourPop ones next to each other, and I don't know why I didn't do that. But this is the ColourPop Super Shocked Cheek in the shade Count Me In. These next 4 are from the Balm palette, so this is the shade Cobbler, the shade Pie, the shade Crisp, and the shade Candy. So hopefully with crisp you can see like that golden kind of sheen that it has to it. I think there you can tell. It's so pretty. I absolutely love that. And then the last four are the ColourPop blush sticks. So this is the shade Hen Party. This is the shade Mini Me. This is the shade 25-8, and then this is the shade Cool It. And yeah, I know I can't like show you and like prove it to you guys, but Hen Party here is just like the perfect fall like brown pink shade that I'm going to so enjoy. So yeah, there are all of my cream blushes. Okay, so then here is the only other thing we'll talk about for this video. I have in front of you 14 powder blushes. When I do my inventory, this is just what works for me. I count everything individually as a pan. So that way, like I know I've seen some people, they count like they have a face palette section, for instance. And so that's fine if that is what works for them. I'm not judging them in any way. We are each very different. I, however, will look at something and, you know, if I have, like for instance, this is technically a face palette. This is an eyeshadow palette. Here's another like palette, and then this is a magnetic Z palette. So let's just take all of those away that house blushes in them. So if I just look at my single blushes, that doesn't look like so bad now. So for me, in order to, again, keep myself in check and accountable, I have to count everything individually. So we will just get into this. I will still do swatches of everything and insert that like after I go through and show them all to you. I love all of my blushes. There's not like a bad one in the bunch. So yeah, I can't really speak to them. They all have really nice formulas. They all feel very creamy. They all, you know, creamy in the sense of like they blend out nicely. I don't feel like any of them are super streaky or anything. So the first one I have is from Pretty Vulgar, and I can never figure this out. Is it their blushes are called Make Them Blush, and it's in the shade 18 Hush Blush, I think. I really like this one. It's a great like kind of brown pink. I think on camera it might be showing up more of like a mauve, but it definitely has like brown vibes to it in real life. The only bad thing I will say about this is I hate the packaging. It is so bulky for like a single blush. It is really pretty and like intricate, but not my favorite packaging. I have the Laura Geller Baked, what is this? The Baked Blush in Brighten in the shade Tropic Hues. This is a glowy blush, and then this CYO is a glowy blush. And I don't tend to like glowy blushes. Ooh, sorry guys, that probably felt like you were on a roller coaster. Didn't mean that. Anyway, these two blushes are my only two that are glowy, and I don't typically reach for a glowy blush just because I feel like then I overdo it with like the glowy blush and the highlighter, but I do still really enjoy these two. Before I started my channel, I had way more like glowy blushes, and I did pass a lot of them on, but these two just managed to hang around. So this is what the Laura Geller one looks like on the inside. It's kind of like a corally color, and then it has, I think you can see like the golden reflex in it. So it's really pretty. It's a baked formula and it's domed, and I have gotten quite a bit of use out of this and still doesn't look like I have made a dent. And then the CYO one, it is in the shade Crush on Blush. No, sorry, I keep knocking the camera. It's in the shade Tell It Straight. So this, to me, I heard someone compare this to, what was it, NARS Orgasm. And I did have like a little sample size of NARS Orgasm, but I honestly don't, other than not liking it, I don't really remember anything else about it. So I don't know if they're like super similar. This, to me, it's the same as the Laura Geller one. It's just a pink like corally blush with like some golden shifts to it, but it's not bad. I'm not mad at it. Like, it'll keep hanging around and living with me. Then I have the Essence Satin Touch blush, and this is in the shade Satin Coral. I think I have I know I've used this like a handful of times. The pattern is still on it. This blush is very pigmented. It takes very, very little of it. And even though it's like a smaller size compared to like some of these other blushes, I feel like this one would be so hard to pan and use up just because it is such a vibrant color, and a little goes a long way. This is not like a CYO blush. This is a matte. This is like repurposed packaging. So this is actually the blush from this Tarte Hamptons Weekender palette. And if I open it up, the bronzer has been the bronzer has been repressed, and then the blush has been repressed, just because it was very difficult to get like my brushes into here and not pick up, you know, the other like not pick up the bronzer if I was just going in with the blush. So it has been repressed and depotted into here. And I did franken it with some very pink and powdery eyeshadows that I had in my collection. So it's not exactly the same shade as what you get in the Tarte Hamptons Weekender palette, but it's not like too terribly off from what you get. So this is it's very nice. It's very powdery since I repressed it, but yeah, it's in my project 21 by 2021. And then this very reflective packaging, so I will go ahead and apologize. This is the eyeshadow palette they did in collaboration with Aspen Ovard. If I open it up and show you without like blinding you with the mirror, you can see the blush in there. It's called Made You Blush, and I do have pan on it, thankfully. That took forever to accomplish, and I know that's just like the babiest of pans, but oof. Blush is no joke, y'all. I thought they would go by a lot faster, but no, they really take a long time. So then we have this BH Cosmetics Blushing in Bali palette. Now this has 3 highlighters and 3 blushes in it, and this is what it's looking like. So the bottom ones we'll come back to later. Those are your highlighters, but these top 3, I am not about to butcher some of these names. Well, I'm not about to butcher this first name, but this is like a baby doll pink blush, and I absolutely love it. I think this is my favorite shade out of everything that I have, and I'm really surprised. I think you can tell on camera, but look, like, I know it's not rings, it's like lines, but like, does that mean I'm gonna hit pan soon on this? Because if so, this is definitely like the fastest I've ever hit pan on a blush. I got this for Christmas, and it is January 31st when I'm filming this, so that goes to tell you just how quickly that might get moved out of here. But then the shade next to it, Coral, is like this very vibrant coral shade, obviously. So I've used these two. This pomegranate shade I have not used at all, because obviously it is very dark and I'm just a little intimidated by it. So I don't know like what I'm going to do with that one, but I really do enjoy these other two. Okay. And then this is just a magnetic Z palette that I got off Amazon so that I could depot some of my like blushes and highlighters and keep them all in one place and not have so many like singles just hanging around. Trying to get myself more organized. I think I did a pretty good job. But there's only 2 highlighters in here, so again, we'll come back to those. But I have 2 Tarte Amazonian clay blushes. I have the first one that you see to the left is the shade Achetois, I think is what it's called. And then the one next to it is Fairy Flush. This is my oldest blush in my collection. I know that for sure. And I have used this quite a good bit. There is no dip in it whatsoever, but you can see how much of the imprinting has like worn off from it. And this one too, Fairy Flush, I have used that one quite often, and it looks brand new, but I promise it's not. Then I have 2 Ofra little singles down here. I don't know the name of this one. It's like a peachy color, but this one I'm fairly certain is called Winter Rose. And then the last one in here is from a brand called Deuce, and it's in the shade RSVP. So again, we will do some swatches. Alright, I think we can all tell what kind of blush shade Haley likes. There's so much similarity here, you guys. Like, it's a little ridiculous. Obviously, I don't need to buy blush for like the rest of my life. Like, never ever. So I'm gonna come in a bit closer so that we can see what's going on. Okay, there's the camera. So this first one is that Franken from the Tarte Hamptons Weekender palette, and I believe it's in the shade Beach Getaway. And then we have the Laura Geller blush in the shade Tropic Hues, and you can see like that golden sheen that it has to it. And then next to it is this CYO blush in Tell It Straight. And so while these are both glowy, I think this one has more of that coral kind of pink shade, and then this one is more of just like a straight pink, but I think you can still see like the gold flecks in it. Then next to that, this is the Essence Satin Touch blush in the shade Satin Coral. Then we have next to it here is the Pretty Vulgar blush in the shade Hush Blush. Then we have these next three are from that BH Cosmetics palette. These three are definitely like the softest, like creamiest blushes that I have in my collection. I really enjoy these. These are very nice. So this first one is that shade name that I'm not gonna butcher. It's like a baby doll pink. Then we have the shade Coral, and then the shade Pomegranate, and you can see like Pomegranate is very, very deep. I might have to like end up using this as an eyeshadow. Next is the, oh, what is this? Oh, this is the blush from that Tarte Aspen Ovard palette, the shade Made You Blush. And then here we have those last ones are from the Z palette I showed you. So this is the Tarte Amazonian Clay blush in the shade Achetois. There's Fairy Flush by Tarte as well. Then this is that Ofra like peach shade that I don't know the name of. This is the Ofra shade Winter Rose, which looks very dark, but this blends out quite nicely. Although I have found I can use this Winter Rose shade as a bronzer as well. And then the last one here is that RSVP shade from the brand Deuce. So yeah, there's not a lot of variety in my blushes, as you can see. Yeah, it's kind of eye-opening to see them all lined up and swatched out together. Because I feel like when you look at them in the pan, it can be just a bit deceiving, but then once you actually see them, you know, and apply them and use them, yeah, they're all very, very similar. So I am actually, the more I look at it, this pomegranate one is very dark, but I am interested to try it and see how well it blends out, and maybe like if I go in with a very light hand, I can get away with it. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Oh, the other thing I wanted to note, these Ofra blushes over here, definitely like the most chalky out of all the blushes that I have. And then that Tarte one in the shade Achetois, definitely had to build this up to get a nice swatch for you guys, which makes sense because it is the oldest in my collection. But yeah, I think that's all that I wanted to say. And so I hope you guys have a great day, night, or whatever it is when you're watching this, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye!